away. We were out to dinner with them just hours before. And we were texting that night. We were texting about the Lakers. We were texting back and forth up until 12:30. And somewhere between the last text he sent me in the morning, he was gone. It's not cliche to say, you never know.
You never know.
You never know. It's not cliche to say. When it's somebody else, really, it hits you. God, you just can't understand it.
Just hours after these photos of a smiling Cameron Boyce were taken by his father, the 20-year-old was found unresponsive at his Los Angeles home, passing away suddenly last month in his sleep due to a seizure which was a result of epilepsy, a neurological disorder that affects nearly 3.5 million Americans.
Cameron had his first seizure at 16 and a half. And then until he had his second one, he wasn't considered as having epilepsy. And that was when he was 17, going on 18. He only ever had 5 seizures, and the 5th one is the one that he died from.
Was he receiving treatment?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he was on medication, for one, but we also had this thing where they wired his head up and had this contraption on to try and capture brain activity. Nothing ever showed. They tried to induce him to seize with strobe and different methods, never seized. And he only ever had seizures while he slept. He never had one while he was awake. Every time he had a seizure, he would bite his tongue or bite his lip. He wouldn't have any memory of the seizure.
And obviously, if I ever thought that he could die from a seizure, I would have never let him out of my sight, which would have been awful for him. And so we thought, because he hadn't had one for 13 months before the last one.
For nearly a decade, Cameron was a fixture on family TV screens all across the globe. At just 12 years old, he landed his breakout role on Disney Channel's hit show, Jessie.
That seems kind of crazy, doesn't it?
Going on to star in the wildly popular Descendants franchise, showcasing his many talents as an actor.
It wasn't the right time, all right?
And dancer.
What kind of child was he growing up? What kind of kid was Cameron?
He was amazing. He was always extremely wise, extremely thoughtful, incredibly athletic, a dancer from the minute he was born, and just the kindest, sweetest human you could possibly meet, ever. He used to say to me, "Share your wisdom, Mom. Share your wisdom with me." Which,
Who says that?
who says that as a kid? And I would.
Often described as an old soul, Cameron believed deeply in helping others, combining acting with activism. His family now carrying on the work he began with the Cameron Boyce Foundation.
And the Cameron Boyce Foundation will do a lot of things for epilepsy, for ending gun violence, for the water crisis. Those are the areas he was really, really focused on.
What you leave should be bigger than you.
You know, I can never fill my son's shoes, ever. Even though my foot is bigger than his. But we're gonna try to continue his legacy as best we can, because it's just too important to just let it die.
Usually a son says that about his father.
Exactly. Everything is just backwards. Everything is just reversed. And that's why it's so strange to me. Like, I'm not supposed to outlive my... State of Cameron Boyce, which is just... Every time I read it or see it or something, it's just... It just boggles my mind.
In your quiet moments, and you think of your son, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
A month or so ago, he came to visit, and I was just so happy to see him. I gave him a big hug, and it was just cool that here's my 20-year-old son, just drove up in his car from his house, and is coming to visit me, and like, I'm thinking this is how it's gonna be. It's gonna be cool. And so that's my favorite memory right now, because it was the last time I saw him just like being an adult and doing his thing.
Hey guys, it's Cameron Boyce here at the Descendants 2 premiere on the carpet right now.
Do you have a favorite performance from him?
Dancing through it, and he just did a pirouette that was perfect, and it left a mark in the snow. And I love that because it's him. It's the sunlight and shoes that he is.
But he said crazy stuff too.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Go ahead,
I'm gonna tell you,
Daddy.
the last night we were with him at dinner, he said to me, we we asked him about his house. He had just bought a house. And she said, well, how's the house? This was the night there was another aftershock from the earthquake. And we were at the restaurant, and we were rocking at the restaurant on the patio. We had just had an aftershock. And then she asked him, how was the house? And he said, my house is the epicenter of everything that's cool. I don't want to make him seem like he was all professorial all the time. He was a goofball.
He was.
He was a total goofball. He said crazy stuff all the time, but I just thought that was cool.
Yeah.
The epicenter of everything that's cool.
And said it with a smile, I'm sure.
Yeah, he was like all smug. Yeah.